Hi, everyone. This is Debbie from Extraordinary Jewels. We are here live on this morning on May the 1st in the studio with Tasha and Matthew. And we are just sitting here this morning and we're just going to kind of have a general conversation on today, authentic conversation. So we're going to just see, hey, Tasha, what's going on with you, girl? How was your week?
It's going well. How are you? I'm doing good. I can't complain,
I'm
as I
doing
always
good
say.
too. Right. How you doing, Matthew? How was your week?
I'm doing really good. I'm doing great.
Matthew is our videographer and he's kind of like shy, so he's sitting in the background. But we just thankful that he's here with us this morning, and so we're just gonna kind of just see. We want you to guys to know that Extraordinary Jewels is going to be launching a podcast, and we're going to have where you'll be able to call in and ask questions and give us your feedback on our topics. And we're going to record our 2 episodes per month, and you'll be able to call in live, and we will let you know in advance the dates that we'll be live so you can call in. And that phone number that you're going to be calling is 214-392-8005. That is the business line for Extraordinary Jewels, and we're just very excited. Extraordinary Jewels is a women's community group where we come together to talk about real issues through real talk and resulting in real results. And so, what you got to input on here today, Tasha?
No, just when you call in or when you participate, just know you're on an open platform. There is no judgment here. We've all been through something. We've all experienced something. So, just call in. Be free. You don't necessarily have to introduce yourself. If you want to be anonymous, you can. So, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, so we're going to have topics going forward on, we're going to be talking about race, some religions, love, sex, money, abuse, just raw, real, authentic conversations. And we just know that sometimes we don't have a platform that we create where people can talk about real issues through real talk. And so we just wanted to come together, and that's what Extraordinary Jewels is. We have a live Zoom session for women every Monday evening at 7 p.m. Central, where we talk about all different types of topics. And this month, we're in a series called The Pain of Forgiving. And we have been talking this month about the pain of forgiving church hurt, the pain of forgiving betrayal. We have upcoming the pain of forgiving divorce, the pain of forgiving abortion. And the list goes on because there are a lot of things that we have a lot of pain that we need to forgive. So we're very excited about that. And that's going to be launching us into a July the 7th, which is National Forgiveness Day. We are going to be having a program with music and singing and some arts here in Frisco, Texas. So we're very excited about that. Anything else, Tasha, Matthew?
No. Tell them about your website, though.
So our website is currently in the process of being revamped, but our website is extraordinarygewels.org.
Okay. Will they be able to catch the video of the podcast on the website?
Yes, they will. So all of these episodes of the podcast will be on our Extraordinary Jewels website, where you can go back and listen and chime in, and that you will be able to see the upcoming episodes posted on our website as well. And we are also currently going to be launching on Instagram, and we're also going to be having a room on Clubhouse.
Nice. Okay, sounds great. So what do we want to talk about today?
I don't know. It's a good day to be alive is all I know.
I know. With everything that's going on, it is a great thing to be alive and be able to breathe and be happy. I know I'm at a point in my life right now where I'm just trying not to be upset over the petty things. If something happens in life, if it slows you down a little bit, just keep pushing, keep pressing. And then when you get to your destination, just know that God has that worked out too. And that's one of the things that I'm learning right now, because things are forever changing. And to me, when you're on the move trying to make things happen, it seems like those are the times that something pops up and it's like, really, where did this come from? So just right now in life, if you're experienced where it's like you're pressing forward, you're trying to do some things and make some things happen, and then something just breaks and you just don't know, like, why did this happen right now? Just keep pressing. Because even though it's broken in that moment, it won't be broken in the next 5 or 10 minutes. And when you get there, stay positive, work through your, I guess they want to call it any kind of negative energy, and just keep on moving, because in about 15 minutes, in about 20 more minutes, it's going to be a little bit different. It won't be where you were 15 minutes ago. It's not going to be like it was 20 minutes ago.
Right.
It's going to change. So you just keep on going, because the next person that you see, it doesn't mean that they're upset. It doesn't mean that they're disappointed. You keep a smile on your face, because the next person you meet needs a smile. They need to see that everything's all right. Even though 15 minutes ago you were in a position that you were like, this is broken. Where did this come from? But the next person doesn't know 15 minutes ago it was broken. All they know is they see you and they want to see a smile. So just keep that in mind, that as you're going through life, just keep a smile on your face. And you might, Tasha, that's fake. No, that's keeping you going until you make it to where you need to be.
Right.
You
and
know?
you got to remember about the song that says, everything must change.
Right.
Nothing stays the same.
Right.
That used to be one of my jams.
Right,
Woo, 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 woo.
right.
Jam, dam, 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 dam. Yeah, everything must change.
Everything.
So 15 minutes ago, you had a situation, and now 15 minutes later, that changed.
It changed.
Yeah,
It changed.
that's good.
It's not going to stay the same.
Right. Yeah, it's not going to stay the same. Exactly.
And
Nothing.
actually, it can't.
Exactly.
It can't stay the same.
No, it cannot.
It cannot stay the same.
No.
It's just no way it can stay the same.
Exactly.
If we are forever evolving, if we're forever growing, if we're changing year by year older, then nothing in that moment, whatever that is, it can't stay the same. We don't stay one.
Exactly.
We
We
don't
don't
stay-
stay in the kindergarten.
Right? We don't stay in kindergarten.
Right? Because how dumb would that look? I'm 50-some years old and I'm still in the kindergarten.
Right?
Whoa.
And it's just no way. Like, you look at somebody, I'm not 10.
Right.
I'm not 10. What? I'm not 16. I done
Right.
growed up.
Exactly.
So, if we're changing with our age every year,
Exactly.
and I know you're thinking, I had to cope and change when I turned 45.
Exactly.
Okay, so if you had to kind of do a coping and changing at 45, you're going to have to do a little coping and changing in 50.
Right.
This is anything in your life,
Right.
So, you just got to keep pushing forward. So,
Exactly.
so today I think, one of the things we just, put this on, just like pin it somewhere, pushing forward today.
Exactly.
So with that being said, that's just one of the things, that's just life. But, it also brings up another point, that's on the fun scale, and it could be anything. If you've been through a situation in life where life didn't treat you right, you're talking about forgiveness, when we open up, we've experienced things from people
Right.
that they didn't treat us right.
Right.
So when we experience those things that they didn't treat us right, that didn't stay the same.
Right.
Now, we may have coped with it a little differently. We might not have the right tools to use to cope with it. Or we might was fortunate. We may have had some people in our lives that we met that were able to help us. But even with that, when you have experienced something, I think the first thing I've learned is you got to talk about it.
Right.
You got to talk about that
Right.
hurt, and that's a sticky thing.
Mhm.
One of the things that Extraordinary Jewels, the platform that's going to be open up, is about, molestation. That's going to be one of the key things. That's one of the driving forces, the passion behind it that makes it where, hey, we need to talk about this.
Yes.
So it's a touchy situation, but it could be brought up in the manner of, hey, this is how I felt about this. You don't necessarily have to bring up the details.
Right.
It could be just, hey, this is how I feel. It made me feel like this. There comes a point, though, that the details have to be said. But maybe just listening to us on this platform, you'll learn, I might can't talk about the details, but I can talk about how it made me feel.
Right.
So when you call in,
It's important to own up to how you feel.
right?
One thing we want our listeners to be able to know is, Do not allow anyone to discard your feelings.
Right.
How you feel about something is valid because that's how you feel about it. Don't let anyone make you feel like, well, why do you feel sad about that? Or why did that hurt you like that? Because we are entitled to own our own feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and owning your own feelings, and you really have to be real with yourself.
Exactly.
And that sometimes is hard because we're so busy thinking about the other person, what they did. But there's a moment where we don't think about, no, this is how I really feel about this. This is what it is. And that right there is the breathing ground for a true healing, is when you look at yourself, not as the victim though.
Right.
Because if you look at yourself at the victim, you almost stay in the zone of the pain.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at yourself and say, hey, this is how I feel. This is the emotion that it brings up. And what helps when you do that too, you can identify the triggers.
Correct.
You know?
Right.
Because when you identify the triggers, then you're able to say, well, it's not about this situation I'm in right now.
Right.
This is not why I'm feeling this way.
Right.
Now, this triggered it, but it's something that happened to me way back when.
Right.
And that right there, that's really what I'm feeling. And that's when you have to learn how to communicate with the person that's bringing the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Communicate with them because it's really not their fault. So don't get so mad at them that you cut them off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, listen, this is how it makes me feel. Or it could be a situation where you're not putting them on the spot because it's not their fault. You have to learn internally how to be at peace with yourself.
Right.
And that starts with forgiving you.
Right.
You know?
We just had that last Monday, talked about the pain of forgiving yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times we try to point the finger and say that someone is we're the victim. But what about when we're doing the victimizing? And not just to other people, but to ourselves as well.
Right.
Because we keep ourselves in bondage.
Yeah.
We hold our own self hostage.
Yeah.
By allowing our pains and our different things that we want to do hold us back. And I always I laugh about this, about my attitude. Mm-hmm. Like I'm in the Kroger and I get so frustrated about, people are taking too long. And if you don't know how to ring up stuff, don't get in the doggone self-checkout. And I'm standing there getting all bent out of shape. And I'm like, what good is it doing you to get bent out of shape? Like you getting all angry. You reach down and take your pulse and your blood pressure is all up.
They don't know
all because the person doesn't know how to ring up something in the self-checkout. Like what in the world?
Because they don't know how to click the button and look up the tomatoes. They don't know if they got Roman tomatoes, steak tomatoes, because they don't know which ones they have. we upset.
Right.
What are you doing? They trying. They don't know Roman. They don't know they have steak. They don't know that they have the little cherry tomatoes. They trying to figure out which ones they have.
Exactly.
And
that's very painful for forgiving myself. You know why?
Mm-hmm.
Because now I done got bent out of shape, and I've raised my blood pressure. I'm talking about literally. Mm-hmm. And now I'm in my car sitting like, what was the purpose that you let that thing get you all bent out of shape and all worked up? And now what that's done, that's created an entire distraction. I done forgot my whole to-do list. Don't know what I'm supposed to be doing now. Don't know what my next task was because I'm still thinking about that person going like 2 miles an hour in the self-checkout.
Right. Right.
Just crazy.
And it's something that we've experienced from life.
Right.
That has caused us to identify things. And we don't like, you can't say, well, it was this that happened to me, but it's some kind of experience that we've had that causes us to say, hey, this is why I react like that. This is why I am like this. Now, here's the thing, but you can't use it as an excuse to keep on acting that way.
That's correct.
Because once you know, what they say, once you know better,
you do better.
You do better.
You're supposed to, at least.
Right? So once you know that is a trigger or that is something that you do, you just almost have to do a little bit better. And if they're up there and they don't know which tomatoes, you just gotta look at them and say, okay, you might take a little long. Let me see if there's another option. And if you don't find another option, you just have to learn how to be patient.
But what the other option could be is, if you know that you're skilled in the self-checkout, why don't you go help the person?
Right. And I know what y'all saying out there. It's COVID. It's COVID. Okay. If you're out there saying it's COVID, okay. Listen, there is someone somewhere that's an assistant. Just kind of flag them down and tell them, hey, come over here and help. Or maybe you still should just be patient.
Right.
Just be patient.
Right.
Just be patient.
Exactly.
And so, with that being said, you just got to be patient with people.
Right.
You got to be patient with yourself. You got to take time out to make sure that you're doing all that you can to just be a better person.
Right.
And identify your triggers.
Right.
And
and anything actually can be a trigger, and it doesn't even have to be a person that's doing it. Like, for instance, I know back in the day I had some boyfriends, and some of the triggers for me would be, I would go by another guy and he would have on that same cologne that the guy that hurt me had on.
Right.
And just the scent would be a trigger. And not the person, but the scent of the cologne from the person that hurt me would be a trigger.
So, in that situation, would you treat him differently?
I would treat that guy differently, yes.
Would you treat him
initially?
Okay. So you would treat him like that past experience.
Correct. And sometimes I've had to, in my own selfishness, I didn't date a guy because he wore that same cologne. That was a trigger for me from a guy from the past.
See? And I know exactly what you're talking about, because I have triggers. And that's when I learned it's because of what I've experienced in life. And people say that so easily.
Right.
But it really does. It happens.
Yeah.
So like you was talking about you was going to treat him differently. At what point, though, that you were like, wait a minute, I can't keep doing this?
It wasn't any point. I didn't pursue the relationship with the next person because of that scent of that cologne.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't even give that person a chance. Like, what kind of shenanigans is that?
I know. And that's what we do. We'll miss out on the opportunity. So when you start talking about that, it made me think, we will miss out on the opportunity even with a relationship.
Exactly.
I mean, and just not with a male. It could be male, female. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You can meet the coolest group of ladies.
Right.
But because of your own hang-ups,
yeah,
you'll just disregard the person. You know how we do as people. And this is any gender. It's not picking on one particular gender. We can meet people because of what someone said about them or something we've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Or our own shenanigans of what we think, because
Right.
we're looking through our own eyes and we're looking at the cover of the book.
Right.
We will turn around and treat the cover, because of what we think the cover look like. We will treat it like it's anything.
Right.
We will disregard it. We'll treat people like they're nobody. Like, oh, you're not up to par. You're not on my standards.
Right.
No, what?
Yeah.
What standard is that? Because some of us have some very positive traits. Some of us are very confident. Some of us are very, educated, intellectual. We all have different skill sets or natural abilities that are better than the next person. But we all have some type of weakness. But because you don't measure up to where I think you should be, I'm going to treat you different. And I'm gonna bring this up because this is a very touchy situation, because you invite the people into the church. Because this is one of my triggers. You invite the people into the church. You tell them how good God is, the blood of the Lamb that will cover all their sins. But you treat me like I'm nothing.
Right.
That is very hard to swallow when you're trying to come up in a new way of thinking of knowing Christ. Because when you were a sinner and you never knew him or you heard about him, you really didn't know about him. So your action and your ways was the ways of the world. So now you're teaching me about Jesus. And so now there's a new way of, not necessarily of acting, but there's a new aura that I bring.
So you're saying that one of your triggers is that they're telling you about here's Jesus.
Right.
But you're treating me like
Right.
I'm like a piece of scum on your shoe.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You want to treat me any kind of way?
Yeah.
You go fetch the water.
Right.
What?
But then what I tell people is if you don't show me the love, because God knew that love was the greatest thing. Because see, we can talk all we want to.
Yes.
But the saying in the world always says action speaks louder than words, and it does. Because you can tell the people, I love you, I love you, I love you, just like in a relationship. If you was in a relationship and your husband or your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your partner was always, treating you like a piece of scum, but every chance they get, they're saying, oh, baby, I love you. Really? I'm going to go off your actions, not off what you're saying to me.
Right.